I ended up going to my mom crying and admitting, I need help. I've got to have help and I can't do it here. I went as far as to say, like, I'm probably going to have to go somewhere else, away from this town and this family, to get that help, because I knew that in my heart, that's what I needed.
What does it take to get through their denial, get them to see that they are ruining their life and yours, and finally do something about it? Well, today we have an expert witness for you here. This is my friend David, and David was one of those knuckleheaded young adults that about drove his family crazy, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
I want to talk to you some about, like, how do we set the stage and get them to go? Mm-hmm. How do we know when the timing is right? Because, I think timing is important. And then also, once you get them there, how do you keep them there? Because even once you get them there, y'all know this, you finally get them there, they're a week or two, and they either want to just run and ditch, or they don't want to go to the next level of care. So there's several kind of levels. It's like stages, this stage, this stage, this stage. And we want them to go all the way through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been on both sides of it now. So I was that knucklehead that was dragging my mom through that, my family through that, trying to get help. And then now I own a residence where we're trying to convince others to stay and get the help that they need. So, and coaching parents through that as well.
So how do you know when the timing is right to even bring up any kind of help? Go to the counselor, go to long-term treatment, anything, go to IOP. Yeah. How do you know?
In my experience and in my opinion, it's you start to see some vulnerability and some honesty around the fact that there is a problem. Mm-hmm. And that was the case for me. I ended up going to my mom crying and admitting, I need help. I've got to have help and I can't do it here. I went as far as to say, like, I'm probably going to have to go somewhere else, away from this town and this family, to get that help, because I knew that in my heart, that's what I needed as an individual with a substance use disorder problem.
So how did you, the parents watching this, they're like, that's my dream. I wish my son would come and say that to me, or my daughter. Yeah. What got you to that point? What got you so desperate that you literally said, you're going to have to send me away, probably out of state, which young people never want to do? So
yeah, and what happened? I went into a drug-induced psychosis more than once, twice, and I had this fear of, if I don't try now, I'm never going to be okay again. Like, my brain is never going to work properly. Mm-hmm. And that was such a deep-rooted fear that I got to this place where I'm willing to try anything that will help me out. Physical bottoms or financial bottoms, or they lost their vehicle and their house. Mine was a mental bottom.
Psychological.
I was a psychologically broken man who was scared for his life. Okay. And then we'll have other individuals that come in and, for instance, we'll coach guys who aren't ready to make the commitment to treatment or anything like that. We just show up as coaches, and we don't push like, oh, you need to get help, you need to get treatment. I tell the coaches, just be their friend. Just as you were saying earlier, let's build up some trust, and let's make some deposits to the bank so we can cash it out later. With that cashing out being making that final
like
step,
using that influence you've built.
Correct.
At the right moment.
Yeah.
Say the right thing at the right time, and now you have the formula.
Yeah. But to get there, you just have to build that trust, build that friendship. And you will see what I was saying earlier is that, that honesty starts to break through at some point, the vulnerability where they start to say to our coach, hey man, like, I've been using for the last 2 weeks, even though I've been seeing you, I've been lying about it. And boom, to me, that's like the doors open.
Yes.
The window's cracked a little bit.
The window just cracked, right. You start to hear some change talk.
Yeah.
Now, even when you hear that, okay, steady. Do not pounce.
Let's go right now.
Just play it cool, because you're going to scare them. Yeah. You're going to scare them off if you pounce. You got to be cool, but that's your moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's even a specific scenario where it's like the mom and dad aren't getting that. It was a coach. It was someone else who maybe was a little more understanding of what they're going through.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I can't get my person to like do anything.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of parents are thinking that.
Yeah. So that case specifically, the parent started high with negotiations and was like, hey, would you be, we love you and we want to help you. Would you be willing to go to a 6-month treatment?
Mm-hmm.
No. Okay. Would you be willing to do detox?
Right.
No. Suboxone? No. And then it got down to like, would you just talk to a coach? And they're like, yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
If that makes you feel better. And then it led to this moment where now we can maybe work back up that ladder to get the help that they need.
Right.
Yeah.
If you pounce too hard, even on a situation like that, they're going to get scared. Because who wouldn't?
Yeah. And even in my case, that still happened to me. Like, even though it wasn't really like my mom pouncing on the opportunity, it was me asking for help. Well, I went to get help. And that first night there, I was calling my mom saying, come get me right now.
Oh my God, I've made a mistake.
This was a
get
bad
me
mistake.
Out of here.
Yeah, I want to go use again. Or in the back of my head, I'm thinking, I want to go get high again. But to her, I was like, I just can't do this. It's not for me. This program's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to discredit it.
Okay, the program. So you obviously didn't say to your mom, get me out of here. I got to get high right now.
Yeah.
You said the standard stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah. Like, oh, they're not going to treat me right here. This isn't a good program. It's not going to be a good fit for me.
These dudes do way worse stuff than me. I was going to learn bad stuff, like the classics. Yeah, all the stuff. Okay. So you tried to ditch when you got there.
Yeah, for probably 3 months. Just so you know, as like parents, any families
3
watching
months.
this.
You are like stubborn. Like you,
Mm-hmm.
most people usually last a few weeks, but a few months.
Yeah, I honestly wasn't bought into the process. And again, I'm a young man at this point. I'm 23. Brain's not even fully developed. I've been in drug-induced psychosis twice, so clearly things aren't working appropriately up in my head. But for 3 to 4 months, I was not bought in.
And did you hammer your mom during that time?
I did.
Put the pressure?
Oh, I threatened suicide. Like, if you don't come get me, I'm going to kill myself, or I'll have a friend come get me. Which luckily I burned all of those bridges, and none of my friends were coming to get me at that point.
And I think a thing specifically with young adults, David, is not only do they have to figure out how to not use drugs, they have to figure out how to adult.
Mm-hmm.
Like most of the time, young adults that have been using for a good long time, they haven't developed any adulting skills. They're probably stuck at like 15 or 16 most of the time. Wherever they started using regularly at, that's where they're emotionally stuck. So
that's what we try to say. This is beyond substance use and trying to get you clean. We want what you want. We're trying to relaunch you in life.
Mm-hmm.
We want to build up those things. Campbell said it once to me. She was like, we want to refill their pride tank.
Right.
And I took that and ran with it, and because I love it, because that's exactly what we do. Is the clients that come to us at Greenville Transitions, they have no self-worth. They have no pride. Like, that tank is depleted.
Right.
And so much of our programming is to give them the life skills that they need to refill that tank.
And then I know you guys do a lot of fun things too, and physical things.
Mm-hmm. So we do a lot of UFC gym work where they do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've been getting photos this morning of the guys in the rock climbing gym with their clinician, and they're going to do a process group at the rock climbing gym. And I learned a lot from you, Amber, because this was like a side door approach. Mm-hmm. I know you've talked about the side door approach before, and just to give a short snippet of what happens and what I mean by that side door approach is we had a guy last week who was rolling in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and the coach had him in a hold that was uncomfortable, but it wasn't a hold that's going to break anything or choke you out. It was just an uncomfortable hold, and the guy taps and says, let me out. And the coach goes, this isn't a hold that's going to break anything or make you pass out. You can do this. Think through how to get out of this hold. And the guy said, no, I don't want to.
Oh, I love that. It's like distress tolerance.
Yeah. And the coach said, I'm not letting you out. You've given up on everything in your life to this point. You gave up on your relationships. You gave up on school.
Yeah.
And the guy just broke down. He started crying.
Oh, no, he's in the old Andy's guy?
Yeah. So then the coach lets him out and was like, what just happened there?
Mm-hmm.
And it created this opportunity for us to talk about all of these past experiences in life that have, you know, helped that pride tank get depleted, where he's given up on school, relationships, jobs. And why is that happening? You know, and it opened up a whole process group, which is a beautiful, to me, picture.
Oh, that's like a spiritual moment right there. That's just like one of those, like,
And this is how we reach these young, I mean, again, we work with young men, and this is how we best reach them. You know, if you try to stick them, we do 6 hours of clinical a day during the week. And if we were to do that in a classroom setting in front of a whiteboard, we lost.
Right. We
lost at the first 30 seconds. They're pulling their hair out. They're miserable. But with things like this, keeping them active and being able to have that side door approach, that's...
What usually is the thing that gets them there?
You know, it's a blend of what we were saying earlier of kind of waiting for that door to open versus, you know, parents somewhat making things a little bit more uncomfortable for them as far as like financial situations or providing them.
Like not fixing everything.
Just
let them be them. Like let it roll.
Yeah. Okay. And then I think as you know, a family, you have an option. You have the safety net that they can fall into when things get really bad, but it's allowing that to happen. And a friend of mine said something that I thought was awesome one time. And they said, don't give up hope, but you can give up help sometimes. You don't always have to help with every situation. You can give up help, but you don't have to give up hope.
What would you say is are there typical mistakes that you see parents make that sabotage either getting to treatment or staying in treatment?
So, I mean, we've seen a case where a dad promised his son, like, I'll buy you a new Dodge Challenger if you'll just stay another month. And when it's time for you to get your car, I'll get you this new car. And the second he got the car, he was gone. He packed his bags, got in the car, left.
Because he was just counting his days. He was doing his time.
Yeah, counting his days. And this brings me to a good point. But a lot of parents who work with us, they're saying, can I just tell them 30 days on the front end, and then we'll see how they are after that 30 days. And I say, you can do that, but I want you to know the pros and cons of that. And the pros is that, yes, it may get him to treatment or her to treatment right then if they're thinking like 30 days and I'm done. But right there is the con, is if they're thinking this is a 9 to 12 month program and they're thinking, okay, I'm just going to do 30 days. I'm going to just make a tick mark on each day that goes by. I'm not going to do the things they asked me to do because I'm gone in 30 days.
And then they're going to come to you and say, you said all I had to do was 30 days.
Exactly.
And they're going to hold you to it.
Prolonging the real conversation of like, actually, I want you to do this whole program. Because if you
and then they feel like you lied to them as the parent. They really feel betrayed.
You just lost trust. It just really
ruined your credit with one move. You ruined your credit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's a big one, is just, being honest and upfront and from the beginning. And then be careful with negotiations. Don't negotiate new vehicles or like, I'll put you up in this $3,000 apartment.
You can be general. You can say something like, as long as you're helping you, I'm going to help you.
Exactly.
But don't just promise like
the world.
Right. Specifically.
Yes.
$1,000 for a day or something, crazy. Like don't do that.
Yeah. Because when you get into those specifics, they just locked that in.
Right.
Like they're going to hold you to that, to the day you said it was going to happen, to the amount you said that was going to show up in the bank account.
Right. Are there any other big mistakes that sometimes parents, they don't mean to, but, that was best intentioned, but you sabotage yourself.
There are just some who aren't really ready to take recommendations from the other clinicians or...
Like the parents aren't?
Yeah. Because we work with the parents a lot too. Like weekly, we're working with the parents, and sometimes they will just tell you straight up, like, I'm not ready to...
Like what kind of recommendation?
Of like, hey, why don't you not call for a month?
Oh, yeah.
Take a month off of not calling, give them their space, and, can't listen to that.
Why would you make a recommendation like that?
I mean, it could be a number of things. One that comes to mind immediately is like if every phone call is them saying, come get me, I hate this, threatening you, holding you hostage emotionally, like cut it out.
You're just
You don't have to
torturing
deal with
yourself.
that. Yeah, he's in a safe
They're
place.
badgering
She's in a
you.
safe place.
They're guilting you.
Yeah.
They're doing all this stuff.
And let them know that you're not going to listen to that.
Right.
Like, you deserve more than to tolerate that.
When I used to work in an inpatient facility, you would get 10 minutes a night or something on the phone, and you'd have to sit in front of the nurse's station and call your parents, these teenagers. So if they called and they started that crap, that nurse would say, I'm sorry, they're going to have to go now. The nurse would just cut it off and say, you
Maybe
lost
we
your
should do
phone.
that.
Because if the clinician can see that they're just trying to be mean to you, because probably some people, the way they manipulate is to intimidate or badger or threaten it. Now, other people manipulate by being charming. That's not the only game.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's happening, that might be a reason why you don't want that to keep going.
Yeah. But there are many cases like that.
I used to see a lot where something would happen in treatment. I don't know. The coach tells them they lost their something privilege for the day or whatever. And so then they would call their mama or their daddy or whoever, and they would say, can you leave this? And then the parent would then intervene and call up the tutor and try to negotiate this. Do y'all have that?
Oh, yeah. Try to splitting.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Or, I've even had, this is a funny story I'll never forget, but we had a coach come into someone's room one day and they were like, man, that was a terrible job of making your bed.
Mm-hmm.
So that person runs and calls their mom and dad and says, they told me I was a terrible human being. Like, just took what was said, put it.
I was a loser. I've never make anything in my life. Something ridiculous.
Pushed it to their favor.
I'm going to end up in jail.
So the mom would call, and it starts that splitting process, because what they just did is they just put a little bit of doubt into the parent's mind that, maybe we're not looking out for their best interest. So it's important. That's why we work so heavily with families, because it's important to stay all in line. Yeah, we're on the same front here. Mm-hmm. We're all fighting the same thing, even with your loved one that's with us in our program,
Yeah, and just in case you forgot, at the same time they're calling you and they're telling you that about someone else, guess what they're telling their counselor about you?
Yeah,
It's a two-way street, people.
For sure.
They're working both angles, and some of that's just addictive behavior,
mm-hmm.
and it takes a while for that to go away. It's worked for a long time, and you're gonna do what works. And so, it's not that you tell them shut up, you don't believe them, but you don't have to bite that fish hook either. Is what I call it. Yeah.
I like that.
Okay. So if you want to learn more about David or his program, or even just hear his story, because it's a pretty good story, then I want you to watch this video next. I will link it up here for you, so you can find out all behind the scenes of what happened to get David to treatment, how his mom dealt with it, because there's a lot to learn there.